Hello there, everyone. My name is Giovanni with Haverford County Free Library, and welcome back to Magical Menagerie on our Mythical Mondays. So the deck that we'll be doing, or the theme of the deck that we'll be doing today is Egyptian mythology. Last week we did Greek, so we wanted to go in a little bit of a different direction, but there are some similarities between them. The main points I'm going to be focusing on today that we'll jump into is we're going to be talking about cartouches. We're going to be talking a little bit about cats, our vizier right here, Temet, and also a little bit about our sphinxes right here. So we'll start with the cartouche actually, because that's the one I found most interesting so far. So what a cartouche is that it's actually an ancient nameplate that they would use hieroglyphics for the name of a king or queen on them. Usually these would be just for royalty. Now the purpose of the cartouche actually was meant to be written on a tomb and coffin to mark who was inside of it. The Egyptians actually believed that people had two souls, and by using this, they would be able to find their way back to death and get to the afterlife. Now, the name for the cartouche actually came from Napoleon when he was occupying Egypt with his soldiers. They actually noticed that the cartouche looked very similar to a gun cartridge that they used, which is actually the same name, cartouche. The original name for these things were called shen, which meant to encircle. But enough about those. Now we'll move on to cats. Cats are a bit interesting because, from what I understand of the mythology, is that people kind of just believe that these were bringers of good luck. That these were ones that, if you had them in your house, you were kind of set for without anything bad, no plagues, anything like that. And that's why you would see them be praised so much, be put on such a high pedestal. As you can see, this guy's got a collar right here, but this one is taken care of just a little bit better. So you can see kind of why they were so high praised back then. And then we have Temet right here, our vizier. A vizier is actually the highest position to just right below that of the king themselves. This is the person that would be their right hand man, the person who would deal with the problems, help them think through the issues that the people were having. And I also like that we have embalm and entomb here, actually, or internalize, because this is another thing that they would do where they would take the corpse and they would turn it into a mummy to leave into the tomb there. So that way, the one of their souls would have a body to return to. And then last but not least, we also have our monuments here. These were kind of built well, these ones particularly were meant more for the gods, but you would also see monuments be built for the pharaohs, their kings, just because they kind of wanted one. The earliest ones, I think, go back to Giza, which I'm trying to remember if I can. I can't remember at the top of my head. Those pyramids are super old, and those are probably the most famous ones that you'll see and hear of. Now, the last thing, actually very similar to the pyramids, is the Sphinx, actually. Now, the Sphinx is actually known through a few different forms of mythology. You have Greek and Persian mythology. Greek mythology is actually the ones that you'll see the type of Sphinx where they answer riddles or have you answer riddles to get past them. Whereas instead for the sphinxes in Egyptian mythology, these guys were a bit more known to be benevolent compared to the Greek ones, even though both of these guys were more as gatekeepers, guarding entrances and temples a lot of the time. So there are a good amount of similarities, but there are very small details that make them who they are, compare depending on their mythology. For instance, actually, Greek mythology, most of the sphinxes would be female, or pretty much all of them would be female, whereas Egyptian mythology is usually they're male. Um, Now, I believe that is all I have for our little mythology point today, so we'll just quickly go into the deck and show you guys how it works. This is pretty budget, to be honest. The only reason this deck has any price on it is all is just because of the Flooded Strand here and the Hallowed Fountain. Those are pretty much the expensive cards here, but other than that, it's a pretty budget deck to be running. So we're running 3 Cartouche of Solidarity, helps get our tokens on the field and gives first strike. Curious Obsession for our card drawing, just because we want to keep attacking the entire time. Staker Cat, because it's cheap and has lifelink. Temet Vizier of Naktamon, because he gives our guys, our tokens, able to get through without being blocked, so that's good for that damage if we need it. And also helping out with Curious Obsession like that. We have just one Adorned Pouncer, just because I'm kind of in between adding the cartouches in here, but this guy also gives flying, draws you a card, so it's good equipment or enchantment. But this also giving it double strike with the internalize just makes it a lot better, especially if you get like flying on it, like I said. We're running 4 absorb because we're running blue-white, so you should probably be running counter spells, and this is probably the best counter spell to be running for you. We're running 2 Oketra's monuments and 2 Kefnet's monuments because pretty much we're just trying to use these for our late game guys, our sphinxes. So even the Kefnet is just good because then that keeps their creatures down if we need to, so they can't activate abilities, save their artifacts. And Oketra's monument because then we just get more tokens to help chip in better. We're running 2 Oketra the True, also 2 Oketra, or God Eternal Oketra. And we're running the True because we only need 3 creatures, and by turn 4, if we're lucky, we should be able to have those out on the field, especially if we were able to play a Cartouche or anything like that. We also have, because I believe she needs 3 others, unless you control at least 3 other creatures, yeah. So you need 4 creatures, including her. Not 3, but we're running 3 Sphinx of Foresight because just testing the deck, I've gotten this in my first starting hand a good amount of times. So this is a great way of getting you started to make sure that you're going into your deck pretty easy. We're running, like I said, 2 of the God Eternal Ketras because when we cast a creature spell, that is just getting us 4/4 zombies, which you probably could cut a few more of these early guys out for creatures if you really wanted to, but also coming back as the tokens, which I guess, yeah, we're not casting these for their extra costs, but just to get the 4/4 started itself is pretty good. And then after that, we are running 2 Jilin Sphinx just because it gives boosts our other guys on attack, and we're running 2 Dream Trawlers because it gives extra attack. It has lifelink, and we can discard and give it hexproof if we really want to, which is a good thing to get bad cards out of our hand, or get things like Embalm or Internalize into the graveyard. And then, like I said, so the only extra lands we're running that aren't blue and white are the Moorland Haunt, because for blue and white, you exile a creature card from the graveyard and get a 1/1 white spirit with flying onto the battlefield, which is just good because it can get rid of things, I don't know, like Titans or anything that can play from the graveyard. So this is pretty standard for the deck. I just tried to do my best to keep the Egyptian mythology theme going with it, which I think I did pretty well actually, compared to my god themed one with Commander. But let me know what you guys like about this, what you think needs improvements. If I had to make a suggestion myself, is I probably would take out the cartouches. This one's not bad actually. I like this one a lot because of the first strike and the +1/+1 for 1 drop. It's pretty decent honestly. But you could probably take out the Cartouche of Knowledge for a better 2-drop enchantment if you wanted to, or run more counter spells. You could probably add a couple more of the Adorned Pouncer in here, especially if you're running better enchantment auras. You probably want to run just a few more counter spells if you're running blue-white, just because you probably don't need to be running Kefnet's Monument if you really just want to run the Oketra for the tokens. You might be able to get rid of probably the Jolene Sphinx, I would say, if you wanted to try and run something a little bit more stable. I haven't found too much of a use for this guy yet, other than the fact that it's just a flying blocker that can attack and do some extra damage. But Dreamfall is probably pretty good just because it's really good late game to have on as a field, and just being able to keep it, or just to give it hexproof is pretty nice. But that's all from me today. If you guys enjoyed it, please let me know. You can reach us here on our website at Haverford Township Free Library. And if you'd like to reach us and leave some comments on our social media accounts, you can reach us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at Haverford Township Free Library. Alright, everyone. I think that's enough for today. I've been Giovanni, and hope that you guys have a nice rest of your day. Bye-bye now.